These are the videos to help for the review for the test that will be given on Wednesday on similarity. This first problem, it says the similarity statement reads, triangle MNR is similar to triangle FGH. Identify the corresponding sides by completing the equivalent ratios below. You can see that this is our right angle in FGH and this is our right angle in MNR, and so these triangles are not shown lined up. If we turn FGH this way and redraw it, terrible drawing, but anyway, there's F, there's H, and here's a G up here. Now we can see the left side corresponds to the left side of the big triangle, but because we have a similarity statement, we don't even need to do that, because remember we talked about in class the first two letters of the similarity statement, that's the side that corresponds to the first two letters in the other side of the similarity statement. So MN corresponds to FG. So we can compare, I'm going to go from the small triangle to the big triangle. FG corresponds to MN, and then looking at our drawings, this is FG and this is MN, so that looks right. Then the last two letters, NR, corresponds to GH, starting with the small triangle, GH over NR, and we can see that's the hypotenuse. GH corresponds to NR, the hypotenuse of the larger triangle. And finally, using the first and last letters, MR and FH, FH being this small base, smallest side, and the smallest side of this large triangle, so FH corresponds to MR. Now we've written our similarity statements, and the next question asks us, how does angle G compare to, we haven't written a similarity statement. The similarity statement was given to us, and we say this the right way. We've written the proportion showing the ratios of the corresponding sides because the triangles are similar. Okay, the next thing we have to do is compare angle G to angle N. Angle G is either less than, greater than, or equal to angle N. Let's look at our triangles. There's angle G and here's angle N. And we know that corresponding angles of similar triangles are congruent, but we can also look at our similarity statement. Angle N is the middle letter, G is the middle letter, so we know those are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles of similar triangles are always equal. They're congruent. Okay, number two, we have a bunch of true-false statements. The first one says, similar figures always have the same shape. Yes, that's the definition of similar figures. They have the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. So that is true. The second statement says, congruent figures are always similar. That's true. Congruent figures are equal in every way. So congruent is the most specific name for that, but they are also similar. So that is also true. The next statement says, similar figures always have the same size. No, they don't. You can look at the triangles in number one and see that that's not always true. Similar figures always have the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. The next statement says, similar figures are always congruent. That's the same statement as the one we just talked about, just stated a different way. Same size is the same as congruent. So that's false. The next statement, similar figures always have corresponding angles that are equal. That's true. Remember we talked a lot about the Wump family and Mugwump's ear angle compared to Zug or Bug or even Thugwump. The bigger the Wump gets, the wider it gets and the taller it gets, but the angles don't change. If the angles change, the shape would change, and we know similar figures have the same shape. So similar figures always have corresponding angles that are equal or congruent. The last statement says, similar figures always have corresponding sides that are proportional. That's true. Look at the proportion we set up in problem 1, comparing the corresponding sides of those two triangles. That's the definition of similar figures. They have the same shape, and in order for them to have the same shape, they must have proportional corresponding sides, so that is true. Okay, we'll pick up the review with problem 3 on the next video.